Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wasallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ibrahim, can you bring me the candy? What's going on?
I'm trying to. I'm told you.
He didn't give you. Okay.
I'm just.
Like, all right, we're waiting for our weekly supply of provisions. But in the meantime, we will go ahead So in the meantime, we'll go ahead and start with our review. And then when the candy comes after that, inshallah ta'ala, we will reward those who answered correctly. So the first question is, what was the name of the tribe that was passing by close to the area where Hajar and Ismail were? What was the name of the tribe? Who remembers the name of the tribe? Allah So who remembers the name of the tribe that was passing by the valley where Hajar and Ismail were? Who remembers the name of the tribe? No, you can't. He wants you to move forward, Ya Ikhwan. Nobody remembers the name of the tribe. Haram. You remember? It's right there on the tip of your tongue. Do you remember? No. Jurhum. Ahsant. Good job. Ahsant. Jurhum. Okay, so the name of the tribe was Jurhum. Type number 2. What was the name of the tribe again?
Jurhum.
Jurhum. Don't forget that. Jurhum. Okay. So number 2, how did they find this tribe, Jurhum? How did they find Hajar, Ismail, and the well of Zemzem? How did they find them? What told them that they were there? Ahsan. So they sent some scouts to look for water, and they saw birds circling. Okay? Very good. All right. Number 3. What did the members of the tribe ask Hajar, and what did she say? So they asked her something, and she said something. What did they ask? I'm sorry, you didn't. I didn't give you. Yeah, that was. I know he was like that. Huh?
They asked her if they could get some water, and so she replied, "Yeah."
Okay, they asked if they could get. They just wanted to get water one time.
They asked her permission.
Okay, they asked her permission to get water one time.
To rest there.
Ahsan, they wanted to settle there, and she said,
Yes.
yes. Good job. All right. Number 4. What did Ismail learn from the tribe? Let me see if one of the young ladies knows the answer to this. Adly. Arabic. Good job. Okay, who can deliver this for me?
I can do it.
All right. You might eat it. I don't know if I should let you deliver it. All right, number 5. How did Ismail earn a living as a young man?
So, Papa Ibrahim.
No, we're talking about Ismail. How did he earn a living as a young man? Do you know the answer?
Yes.
Okay.
He became one of the. What's it called again?
Now you guys know how he earned a living, right? How he made money.
I know.
How he took care of himself, huh?
He was a shepherd and he hunted.
Ahsant. Good. He tended sheep and he hunted. Good job. All right. Next one. Number 6. What did Ibrahim see when he came to visit? Let me see if one of the young ladies knows the answer. What did Ibrahim see when he came to visit? Should I give you another chance? Go ahead.
A dream. I dream about slaughtering his son.
Okay, good. So he's good job. All right. Good job for you. All right, so he saw a dream, and in that dream he was offering his son as a sacrifice, right? He saw this dream. Man. Number 7. What did he understand from what he saw?
That he had to sacrifice his son
He had to sacrifice his son because why?
as a test.
Okay, but why? Why did he understand that he had to do it?
Because when
What did he understand from what he saw? He understood he had to do it. Why? You're almost there.
because the dreams of the prophets are commands.
Good. Good job. There you go. All right. All right, number 8. What did Ismail say when Ibrahim told him about it? About the dream and about what it meant? Huh?
He said, if Allah said for you to do it, I'll do it.
MashaAllah. Good job. All right. He said, I'll be what? I'll be patient. Inshallah. Inshallah. All right, number 9. This is a little bit tougher, okay? What do Ibrahim's and Ismail's actions teach us about how we should behave as Muslims? Okay, so what do we learn? The way they behaved, what does that teach us about how we should behave?
Following Allah's command.
Ahsan, we should always do what Allah tells us, right? Because Allah never tells us to do anything that hard, does He? He asks us to do things which are a lot less difficult, and so we should always be obedient. If they could be obedient when they were ordered to what? If they were ordered to slaughter, right? And be killed, we can definitely obey when we're asked to do less than that. Isn't that right? That's right, isn't it? Alhamdulillah. Please. All right, with that said, good job. Good job. Very good job. All right, with that said, we are going to look at lesson number, this should be lesson number 5. Is that not so? So you can tell that that's a typo, right? Okay, so it should be lesson number 5. Okay? All right. So, Ibrahim, after that first visit, he visited a few times. And the exact number of visits is not known. But the historical sources have recorded a total of 4 visits. The historical sources, the authentic historical sources have recorded what? 4 visits. Doesn't mean he only visited 4 times, but these are the 4 that we what? We know of for certain. Okay? One of those visits we've already talked about. That was the previous visit in the previous lesson where he had the dream where he was offering Ismail as a sacrifice. Okay? Now, the other 3 visits were actually mentioned together by Al-Imam al-Bukhari in his Sahih on the authority of Ibn Abbas. Okay? And the way it goes is that, according to Ibn Abbas, Ismail, he grew up, right? Became this very impressive young man. And the tribe of Jurhum, they were impressed by him and they admired him. So when he reached the age of marriage, what do you think they wanted to do? They wanted to get him married. They wanted to marry him to one of the girls from their clan. Okay? And that's what they did. They got him married. Okay? He married one of the girls from their clan. Okay? And then after that, shortly thereafter, what do you think happened?
He divorced.
No, not yet. Huh?
He died.
No, not Ismail. He didn't die. But somebody did pass away.
His mother.
His mother. His mother passed away, okay? So shortly after that, his mother passed away. And it was shortly after that that Ibrahim paid his what? The second visit that we know of. The second visit that we know of. Okay? Alright. So Ibrahim, he comes to town. Away from that. So Ibrahim, he comes to town. Now, we're not going to be able to do this if you guys talk. Now, it's fine with me. I can sit down and you guys can talk. Who wants to talk? You want to talk? Let's talk. No, don't ask him what you say. You had a lot to say just a minute ago. Who else wants to talk? Anybody? No takers, huh? Okay, so if you don't want to talk now, don't talk while I'm talking, okay? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Everybody agree on that?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate it. All right. So with that said, Ibrahim, he comes to town. Comes calling, okay? And he doesn't find Ismail. Doesn't find him. But he does find, finds his wife. Okay? I want you to look at this picture right here. Okay? What do you see right here? What is that?
A door.
That's a door, right? Yes. So, he finds his wife, and she what? Kind of stands at the door. What does that tell you?
He's not home.
Okay, he's not home, but also what?
Not inviting.
Yeah, she didn't welcome him. She didn't invite him. So he came and he asked about Ismail. He says, where is Ismail? Do you know his whereabouts? She said, he's off fetching something for us. Okay? He went to get something. He's out fetching something. Okay? So Ibrahim, he says, okay. Says, well, how are you guys doing? What's your living conditions like? What are your circumstances? Okay? So then, the wife, who didn't invite him, didn't welcome him, she says, نَحْنُ فِي ضِيقٍ وَشِدَّةٍ. She says, we're in a bad way. You know, we're poor. We're impoverished. We don't have much. You know, our life is miserable, she says. Okay? And she goes on and on complaining about what? About her life. Ismail is gone. He's out fetching something. I'm home alone. We don't have much. And she doesn't what? She doesn't welcome or invite him after he's been what? Traveling all this time. When a person's been traveling, you can tell they've been traveling, right? So Ibrahim, he does what? He hears her out. He listens attentively and patiently. And when she finishes complaining, he says, thank you very much. Please, give Ismail my salam. Greet him with the greeting of peace on my behalf and ask him to do something for me. Okay? Leave him this message. Tell him to change his doorstep. And he left. Ismail, he comes back. Okay? I want to remind you. He asked about Ismail. He went off to get something. She didn't offer him anything. And when he asked her about their condition, she said, we're living in poverty. We don't have much. Our life is miserable. Okay? So Ibrahim, he says, give him my salam and tell him to change his doorstep. Okay? Ismail comes home. And he senses that something's not right. Something happened in his absence. So he says, did anyone come calling while I was away? His wife says, yes. Ajuzun kabir. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Is that okay to say? You think? Ajuzun kabir is basically like saying like an old man, an old geezer.
No.
That's yeah. You guys think that's okay? You guys okay with that?
No.
It's not really a good way to talk about somebody, right? So she said an old man came, right? An old man came, some old decrepit guy came, and he asked for you. So Ismail said, okay, and what did you say? He asked about you, I told him you were out. He also asked about our condition. He says, well, what did you say? I told him we were struggling, our life is miserable. Ismail said, did he give you any parting advice? Did he tell you anything? Did he say anything to you? Yeah. She said, yeah. He told me to give you the greeting of peace. Give you his salam. And he also said something, he said that you should change your doorstep, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. So you know what Ismail said? He said, that was my father. That old geezer was my father. And that was his way of telling me that I should part ways with you, part company with you. So gather all your things and go to your parents' house. And he divorced her. Okay? طيب. Some time passes. Ibrahim is in Palestine. He's in Palestine. And he ultimately says, you know what? I'm going to try to visit Ismail again. So he comes calling again, comes to visit Ismail. Comes to his house again. Finds his second wife, because he got married, what? Got married again from the tribe of Judah. Finds his second wife, okay? And doesn't find Ismail, okay? So he asks her, he says, I'm looking for Ismail. Do you know where he is? She said, yes. He's out hunting. He's out hunting. But what? But what? Yeah. You look tired. You've been traveling. You must be exhausted. Why don't you have a seat? Take a load off. Can I offer you anything to eat or drink? Okay? All right? So then Ibrahim, he asked, Ma ta'amukum wa sharabukum. What is your food? What is your drink? What do you guys have? She said, we have lahm, we have meat, and we have ma. We have water. We have meat and water. So Ibrahim immediately raises his hand, he makes dua. He says, Allahumma barik fi ta'amihim wa sharabihim. Oh Allah, put blessings, put barakah in their food and in their drink. Then Ibrahim, he asked, how are you guys doing? How are you guys getting on? What's your living conditions? What's your circumstances like? She said, we are fine. We have plenty to be thankful for, and we have many of the things that other people don't have. And she praised Allah. She went on speaking highly of Allah and what He had blessed them with that other people don't have. Right? So what do you think Ibrahim said? He said, unfortunately, I missed him. I'm not going to catch him this time. So he said, when your husband returns, give him the greeting of peace on my behalf. And tell him that he should hang on to his doorstep. So sure enough, after he leaves, Ismail comes back. And he says, he perceives that someone had been there. Gets that sense. So he asks her, did anyone come while I was away? She said, yes, Sheikhun Hasan. Yes, Sheikhun Hasan. A distinguished elderly gentleman. What do you think?
Good.
I'd like for my father to be talked about like that. That's what I'd like to have said about my dad, not an old geezer, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So she spoke highly of him. She spoke about him and went on talking about, right, his character, his behavior, his demeanor, etc. Then Ismail, he said, did he give you any advice? Did he say anything to you before he left? She said, yes. He told me to give you the salam on his behalf, and he advised you to hold on to your doorstep. Ismail, he said, that was my father. And that was his way of telling me to retain you as a wife. Before we get to the lessons, I want to do a little comparison between the two wives, okay? So that you can really see why what was said was said. Let's look at wife number one. She says, he went out to fetch some provisions for us. He just went out to fetch something. Where he went, I don't know. He went out to fetch. He's not here. Okay? She didn't offer him anything. Then she did what? She complained. And when she spoke of his father, she spoke of him, she said he's an old man. I want you to pay attention to something too. When Ibrahim came both times, did he announce himself? Did he say, I'm Ismail's dad? Why do you think he did that? Huh?
Because if he did, then the wife probably would treat him better.
Yeah, she would try to what? Impress him, right? But you're going to know who someone really is when they don't know who you are. Right? So Ibrahim didn't say who he was. And this is how she behaved. Okay? Like wife number two. She said, won't you have a seat You must be tired after such a long journey. She was very what? Polite. Very courteous. And then she said, can I offer you anything to eat or drink? She was what? She was hospitable. He asked her about their condition. She said, we are fine. We have plenty to be thankful for. Okay? Maybe we don't have everything, but we have lots to be what? Thankful for. Because there's lots of things that we have that other people don't have. Okay? And finally, when Ismail came and she described his dad, she said what? A distinguished elderly gentleman. Okay? With that said, now that you can see the two in front of you, let's go to the lesson. The first lesson is that the greeting of peace, Assalamu alaikum, this was something prescribed and practiced during the time of Abraham. In fact, it's been the greeting since what? Since the time of Adam, the father of man. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him, He told him to go and give a greeting to what? To a group of angels. And He said, listen to what they respond to you, how they respond, because that's going to be your greeting and the greeting of all your descendants. So He went to them and He said, Assalamu alaikum. And they said, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So that has been the greeting prescribed for us since the beginning of what? The beginning of time. That's important. Why? Because what we see now is that many Muslims have done what? They've replaced this greeting with other greetings. Hi. Bye. Hello. Good morning. Good evening. Right? What's up? Whatever. So we find that Muslims have a tendency to what? To greet each other with everything except As-salam. But this is our greeting, ikhwan. And this greeting has blessings that those greetings don't have. And this greeting is a dua, and those greetings have no what? They have no dua. So we should be keen to use this greeting. Don't close your conversations with hi and bye. Close your conversations with what? As-salam. Open your... When you meet someone, meet them with as-salam. طيب, number 2. Another lesson is how repugnant it is, how ugly it is, how despicable it is for a wife to do what? To complain. And to fail to appreciate her husband and honor him. Okay? These are very bad traits, very bad qualities, and something that women have to be keen to what? To avoid. And fathers and mothers have to be keen to teach what? To teach their daughters. That when you, my little girl, when you go off and get married, don't what? Don't be a person who what? Who complains. Who can always find fault in everything. A person who what? Doesn't appreciate her husband. And doesn't what? Honor him. Dishonors him, disrespects him, puts him down, etc. It's especially despicable if she does that what? In front of his parents. If she makes him look bad in front of his parents. Makes him look like a bad husband in front of his parents. A failure in front of his parents, etc. The next one. Among the signs, so you have good women and you have women who are not so good, right? So what are the indications that a woman is not so good? One of them is what? If she has bad manners. Okay? Another one, if she complains a lot. And another one is if she has a foul mouth. And last but not least, if she's a poor hostess. If she's a poor hostess. These are 4 qualities of what? Of a woman that's not what? That's not so good. Bad manners, frequent complaining, foul mouth, and being a poor hostess. These are things that a woman should strictly avoid being characterized with. And fathers and mothers should teach their daughters not to have these qualities, to be as far away as possible from these qualities. On the other hand, a good woman, a suitable companion, has what? Good manners. She's polite. She's respectful. She also has contentment. Everything is not always going to be perfect, but she what? She appreciates and is content with whatever Allah has provided. She has decency and morality in her speech. She doesn't use bad words. She doesn't use foul language. Okay? She has a sense of decorum. And last but not least, she's a good hostess. A man has guests and, somebody puts out a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's just not going to work. Or they don't put out anything at all. Man says, yeah, I have a few brothers that are going to come over and just, have some tea. And he comes home and it's like, there's no tea. And she's like, yeah, you said they'd come over for tea, you better get hot and make some. Right? So, that's not really good. That's not a good wife, right?
Right.
But number 4. This story teaches us that it's permissible for us to use what we call indirect expressions, allusions, or we give subtle hints. So instead of saying something directly, we say it what? Indirectly, because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Where do we get this from the story? Huh?
Oh, when he was talking about doorway.
Uh-huh. So rather than say to the woman, tell him when he comes back to divorce you, to kick you out of the house. He didn't say that. He said, tell him when he comes back to change his doorstep. That's a nice way of saying that you're out of here, basically, right? Okay? Okay. Next one, number 5. Another thing that this story teaches us is that fathers, they have strong intuition. They have foresight. They have a keen eye. They have great wisdom in general. And so if your father is wise and he's got foresight and he can see things, he has experience to know this, that, and the other thing that you don't have, then when your father gives you advice, you should listen. You should listen. We should listen. Talking to my young men here, right? When dad says you shouldn't do this, it's probably better if you don't do that. Go to sleep so you can wake up tomorrow because you have a test. It's probably because he knows something. He has some experience with staying up late and not being able to pass the test, right? All right. Next one. Even adult children must obey their parents. And where do we get that from?
When Ismail divorced his first wife because Ibrahim told him.
And he's a grown man, right? But Ibrahim told him, divorce her. He's a grown man, but he still felt obligated to obey what? To obey his dad. Okay? Next one. Disobedience of parents is required. As long as the parents don't tell us to do something, haram. This is important. So we can't say, well, I have to obey my parents, and they ask you to do haram. No, that's when you don't obey them. You shouldn't obey them. Because there's no obedience to the creation if it entails disobedience to whom? To the Creator. Okay? Okay, so what if the thing that they order me to do doesn't benefit me? It benefits them. Do I still have to listen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay? Yes, I still have to listen. Suppose the thing that they tell me to do will harm me. Do I have to listen? No, in that case I don't. If it's going to harm me, I don't have to listen. But in general, what? If it's not any one of those 3 that we mentioned, then we have to what? We have to listen. Okay? All right, next one, last but not least. Parents have to be obeyed. We have to obey our parents, even if they're not what? The greatest Muslims. Okay? We hope our parents will be what? The best Muslims. But if they're not perfect, if they make mistakes, that doesn't authorize us to not what? To not listen to them. We still have to listen to them. Right? Allah talks about parents who are mushrikun. They're idolaters. They worship idols. And He says, وَإِن جَاهَدَكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبَهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. He says, and if they command you, if they strive in earnest to make you associate partners with me, to commit shirk, then don't obey them. But do what? But obey them and treat them with respect and honor in everything else. You guys see that? All right. And that is the end of today's presentation. Any questions, any comments, any complaints? Tell me.
Even if these one are your parents, you still have to respect them if they're older.
Good job. You have to respect your elders. Good job. Good job. Anybody else? Questions? Comments? What? What? What you got your hand up for? What? تفضل حبيب.
As far as the adab, wouldn't it have been considered better adab to not let a strange man into your home when your husband is not home, as opposed to the second one who actually let him in? She didn't know who he was.
Wallahi, I think the customs and the religious traditions at that time were probably a lot different. So that behavior would have been acceptable at that time. And under those circumstances. Yeah, it would have been acceptable, yeah. So we can't make an analogy between our tradition and our religious culture and that one. On this issue, I don't think. Yeah, I think that the behavior.
I've never seen the Arab culture.
Yeah, but again, we're talking about what? Our tradition from the time of the Prophet Muhammad until what? Until now. But I think in that tradition, that was acceptable behavior.
And he was an old man.
That was acceptable behavior.
And he was an old man.
I mean, that could also be a part of it. But I understand what you're saying, Habib, but I'm saying what we can't do. I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, before let me say that, let me say this. What we can't do is we can't always project, look at our culture and look at what happened previously through our religious cultural lens and determine what? And use that modern religious cultural lens to say this is right, this is wrong. Because in those previous traditions, there were things that were what? That were different, that were allowed for them that weren't allowed for us. One example, during the time of Yusuf alayhi salam, when a person would meet someone and give them the tahiyyah, they would greet them, they could do what? They could bow. And that's not acceptable in our tradition. You follow what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying is that I think that in their tradition that was acceptable. For her to invite a distinguished elderly gentleman into the home and host him. While he waited for what? For her husband to come back from some errand that he was running. Yeah. Barakallahu feek. تفضل.
In the story, the first wife, she was very mean to his dad, so that's why she was poor and had a bad life.
Because of her behavior.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Maybe they were having such a hard time because she wasn't doing her job as a Muslim, right?
The nice one, she had a good life. She was nice to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Only the people who are very bad and do very bad stuff. And she don't like people who do bad stuff. She made seerah to make them be good again if they weren't good.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It's good. Very good answer. تفضل Sheikh.
How did Ismail know the code that his dad was telling him as in doorway?
Really?
Like how?
Okay, well, there could be a number of reasons. One, it could be the language that they shared in their culture. When a person says this is what it means. You follow me? That basically we have expressions in English that when a person says it, we know that it means something totally different than the literal meaning. For example, somebody comes in and they say, "What's up, man?" Okay? In our culture, you don't go like this, do you? You never do like this. Because we know what's up means what? How are you doing? How's everything? You see? So the same way in their culture, the language that they shared, okay, when a person says you should change your doorstep, that's what it means. You get it? Does that make sense?
I mean, you don't just walk up and say doorway, and it's kind of weird, you know?
No, he didn't walk up and say doorway.
No,
he said it
I know, he said it in the sentence.
in a context. In a context.
Yeah, but
I just use that as an example. Do you see how the words, we know what they mean. The literal meaning of the words is not intended. And you know what it means when I say, "What's up?" How do you know that? Because we share the same what? Culture. Linguistic culture. Does that make sense? Or do you need another example? You sure? تفضل.
Oh, that same thing. Didn't the wife say she know what where the doorway is? But since Ismail knew where the hands.
Yeah, but you have to figure that Ismail learned Arabic. Her culture was what? The Arabic linguistic culture. Okay, but he shared a different culture with what? With his dad. You follow me? Okay, and even, let me ask you this question. Isn't the culture, can it differ? Even if you share the same language, doesn't it differ from region to region? The linguistic culture? I'm going to ask you honestly, don't they say things in the South that when you go up north, that doesn't mean the same thing? I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, we share the same language as people in the UK. You guys agree with that? Okay. What does a boot mean in UK? The trunk. It means the back of your car.
What?
Put it in the boot, man. Put it in the boot. And you're like, man, it won't fit in my boot, man. No, the trunk, man, the back of the car. So even though we share the same language, English, but in their culture, when they say boot, it means something different than we say boot. They won't call that shoe that goes above your ankle, they don't call it boot. They call boot what? The trunk of your car. Okay? Give you another example. Okay. For a child that hasn't been potty trained, we buy certain what? Certain undergarments. And we call them what?
Diapers.
We call them what?
Diapers.
Diapers. You know what they call them over there? Nappy. A nappy. I'm going to go buy some nappies for my little baby. Nappy? What? Nappy in our culture is something totally different. You guys follow? So, does that make sense now to you guys?
Yes.
So even if they shared the same language, in their region we use this expression, and in that part of the region they don't use the same expression. Atfadal. You forgot your question. Who else has a question, a comment, or Atfadal, Sheikh.
How did Ismail's father know where he lived?
How did he know where he lived? That's a good question. Who can answer that question? How did he know where they lived? How did he know their address? Atfadal, ya Umm. Good answer. Good answer. You got to give him your contact, right? You can't just let your father go and not punch in your contact, right? Yeah. Good answer. Who has another answer? Who has another answer? Do you have an answer? Do you have an answer? I don't believe you. All right, what's your answer?
Allah.
Okay, that's not a bad answer. Allah is never a bad answer, right? Okay, who's got another answer? Hold on. He's the one who took them there. That's how he knew where they, because he took them there. That's how he knew where they were. Okay, who has another question?
This is only her first lesson today, so she doesn't...
No, brother. No, that's not what we meant. We just thought it was cute.
Yeah.
That's so she's fine, yeah. She's fine.
I'm wondering, came in my mind, at that time, according to the religion of our, father Abraham, Hanafiya, at that time, the multi-marriage at that time wouldn't be authentic, or...
Multi-marriage?
The maybe he could ask him just to marry another wife.
Hey.
Why to ask him to just,
I think that's a good question. I think the message is... I think the message is that a man should have a wife with certain characteristics, because if she has good qualities, he'll be influenced by those qualities. If he already has those qualities, his good qualities will be reinforced. But if she has bad qualities and they're living so close together, she may do what? Influence him in the wrong what? Direction. And we know this from Islam, that the closer you associate with someone, the more they're able to influence you. As the Prophet said in the hadith, al-maru ala dini khalili. A person will follow the faith of his closest companion. فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِطُ. So that each and every one of you consider those with whom he associates. Now think about this. Your closest companion from a rijal, how many hours a day do you spend with them, you think?
8 hours.
A few, right? Maybe you see him 2 or 3 times a week. You go for coffee. You go play soccer. You spend some time together. He's your closest companion. But your wife, you spend Ad'af. You spend, much more time with what? With her.
Very much.
So if this guy can influence you, then your wife can influence you that much more. So Ibrahim said, this is not a good one for you, Ismail. It's best if you what? It's best if you take another one. Doesn't mean you can't take what? Another one. He didn't negate that. He was just saying this one is not good. Make sense? Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could explain. Ismail could explain his father's advice as, you know, take another one, not just divorce the first one and take.
Well, let's say he did that. Let's just say he did that. He said, you know, first of all, he understood from the culture they shared, that's what this means. Change. Change. Okay? He didn't say what? You know, get another one or add. He said what? Change. That's the first thing. The second thing is that even if he added, if he got another one and she was good, he'd still have what? The other one who would be influencing him in the wrong way. So the most important thing was what? To remove the negative influence. Because a man and a wife, they're supposed to help each other to be righteous. It's almost like, Ikhwan, if you have a battery which is fully charged and a battery which is dead, and you put those two batteries together, what happens? What happens? The battery which doesn't have any energy will start to do what? Drain the energy from the good battery. Same thing. You put a righteous person with an irreligious person, and that irreligious person will start to do what? Drain the religion right out of that person. And so Ibrahim, sensing this, he said, it's better for you what? To get you a charged battery, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, anything else? I think you and your partner are conspiring against me.
Exactly.
And next time, you guys can't sit together.
Okay, I have a question now. The time change. How's that going to affect Monday's class and Friday's class?
Is it this weekend?
I think it's this weekend.
Is it this weekend that the time changes? November 7th.
Next weekend. So how's that going to affect it?
All right. My suggestion is that we make the classes after Salat al-Isha. Because if we do it after Maghrib, there's no way people are going to make it. Once the time goes back, there's no way. So if we make all the classes after the Isha, that would be the best thing. That would be Monday and Friday. So, and we have everybody here. So is everybody in agreement? Will that work for you? Salat al-Isha, Mondays and Fridays. If you don't say anything, I'm going to assume that it's okay. Going once, going twice. So effective the week of the time change. The class time will be after Salat al-Isha. That was a good one. You guys can sit together again next time. You guys can sit together. Huh? Right, Saturday night. So you get Sunday. Sunday goes back. But it's not this Saturday. It's the next one. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes.
Comments? You want some candy? Okay, what are you going to do to earn the candy? Nothing. No. We can't have that. We can't have that. Okay, stand up. Stand up. Okay. What's Ismail's father's name? Huh?
Nothing.
No.
Ibrahim.
You just gave him that. He can't know. Okay, I'll give you another one. All right.
Okay, don't answer that.
Okay. How many wives did Ismail have?
2.
Good job. Good job. Yeah.
Finish the question. Ask him how many wives he's going to get married.
Him.
Yeah.
Now I'll let you handle that, brother. Like, any questions? Going once? Going twice? Gone. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.
Finally, that you remain seated in your spot, includes sisters. Please, kindly. Please. Thank you. All right, we ask the brothers to move forward, please. Brothers, move forward, please. Say it the other way. We send in a message to